And spawning here in the upper right, in the blue, he is representing himself alone. PureLegacy.
And in the bottom left side, we have his opponent. It's a red Brodos player representing the Archangel Gamers. He is PattyMac.
And man, I am so excited to see Archangel back in the scene. You know, they took a break for a little bit when their team owner had to deal with some stuff. They disbanded, back in February, I think, of this year. But last week, 6, 7, 8 days ago, they announced that they are in fact back. They've re-signed a bunch of their old players. And I am always so excited to see teams pop up in the scene, teams rejoining the scene, players get signed. Because really, that's a marker of scene health more than anything else. Yes, we can look at, we can look at how much prize pool, things like that. But realistically, in order for the scene to prosper, right, we need teams sponsoring players to allow them to maybe take a part-time job instead of a full-time job, or, if they're good enough, maybe not go part-time at all, so they can spend that time practicing, so they can compete with the likes of a Rainer, a Cyril, a Clem. So it's nice they're seeing Archangel back. We welcome them with open arms.
Yeah, man, it's just awesome to always see these all these teams all around the world, and yeah, it's definitely a good thing for the scene as well. Just kind of figuring out as to the players that don't have the teams that still do make it work. They are therefore a little bit more impressive, perhaps, in that sense as well. And we do have some of those right now in this match also. But I mean, yeah, will they still live up to the results as you mentioned? It's important to be able to spend the time in that practice. And yeah, as you said as well, if you have a full-time job next to this, or like just a full-time study or anything like that, can get very difficult.
What are you talking about here? It's not like, being a full-time student really takes up that much of your time, right? No.
I guess it depends on what you're studying, right?
I mean, yeah, I probably should be studying it right now, but I'd rather talk about StarCraft. That's a bit better way to spend my day, I think, personally. That's what I enjoy a little bit more.
It is.
But look at this. We saw this build from Clem here in Europe, and we see PureLegacy, throwing it out as well. We have the 253rd base. We're going to see 2 more barracks on the way after this. And PureLegacy, he's going to go for this build that is kind of an all-in, but it's a macro all-in, but you also need to get something done with it. It's kind of an interesting build. It feels greedy on both sides. I'm not really sure how I feel about it, even if I have seen it a couple times. But PattyMac, well, win behind Darkshrine. PattyMac's not behind. Win ahead Darkshrine. PattyMac's not ahead. I guess the rule is win in game.
Win ahead, get further ahead, right? So that's the other rule.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna say win in a game and get Darkshrine.
Yeah, that would probably be right. If you're Protoss, go Darkshrine.
Or even if you're not, maybe you're playing a Zerg and you get Neuroparasite, so you can get a probe to build a Nexus, so you can get Dark Templar of your own.
May as well.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. It's good enough. It's gonna be interesting, right? Because PureLegacy here for an actual defense of these DTs, it's most likely gonna come down to whether or not he has scan energy. With 3 command centers, you would say that he should have a good amount of scan, but sometimes these players, they like to mule, and if you just keep muling too much, and we know you won't be able to scan anymore, will you?
Yeah, we're going to have, by the time these DTs are done, actually these DTs are going to be a little bit asynchronous, not properly timed out as well as they would like, because, well, the Warp Prism is only about halfway done, and the Dark Shrine is already done here. So ideally, you're either building the DTs a little bit later, or you're hitting with the, you're hitting with the Warp Prism now, as we do have DTs running across the map here, which, yeah, that's a long run indeed here on 2,000 atmospheres. And how many scans do we have? We have 2/3 of one, or 60% of one here in the main, and the 2 ones in the main. Yeah, there are no scans here whatsoever, and no missile turrets as well. So PattyMac, he has the opportunity. Now, we will eventually have 2 scans. That being said, though, if he moves in here, if he waits just a little bit longer, I think actually PureLegacy, PureLegacy, he knows. I don't know what he said. I don't know where. Oh, never mind. He sees DTs in the main base. There we go. But anyways,
Warp Prism came in. There is 2 scans at least available. Missile turrets in the natural, not quite. Oh, the DT in the main base actually evading death. And that's gonna potentially, never mind, the missile turret's just complete. Okay, well, seven kills still. It's all right for the 2 DTs.
Yeah, and look behind this, we do have a robo on the way. Blink is just about done here. So PureLegacy, well, he's gonna get aggressive now. He says, yeah, okay, well, I lost 7 workers. That's unfortunate, but I got 3 bases. Not the end of the world here. I think he probably wanted to get more done. And now PattyMac behind this, he's trying to take a 3rd base, but there is no splash. Blink is done soon, but what does he have here? He has 3 Stalkers, he has an Archon, he has a DT. Actually, it's going to be 2 Archons. This army from PureLegacy should just be able to knock down the 3rd base rather easily. And then, well, that means this Archons, they're going to have to get some... Okay, we have a probe in the natural. Anyways, 3rd base will get canceled here. And now these Archon drops, we're going to have to get something done. What do we have in the main base? Not a lot, actually.
Yeah. I mean, if it's just hovering around, may as well try to bring it back, right? Okay, it's gonna go in for the attack right now. Both players are kind of with the Archons, of course, but this is just a little bit too much Terran, it seems. Those units being warped in quite quickly get targeted down. 1 DT does, of course, survive. Do we have a scan available? Yes, we do. And there you go, PureLegacy taking game number 1 off of PattyMac here.
Yep, sometimes you go for DTs and you kill your opponent, and sometimes you go for your DTs and your opponent kills you. I think that game was very much the latter. 7 workers was not enough, and really, when we look at that game, was that a game of one player outskilling the other? Not really. That was much more of a game of, hi, I have a build that counters yours. Let me go do it. And yeah, you gotta not make too many mistakes about it, but that was as much a build order win as anything else.
It worked out though, right? It's a strong build, as we said before, with the the triple barracks and the triple command center, best of both worlds coming together, and yeah, bringing him the victory in this case as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So game number 2 is going to be on a bit of a shorter map. It will be Oxide, and well, we're gonna have to see whether we see similar aggression there from PureLegacy. It's what he tried to do against Disc as well. Now Disc, he has some incredibly good PBT, and he said, yeah, okay, look, I see what you're doing. I know how to deal with it. No big deal. But in order to do that, in order to be able to scout and react to what you're scouting, you need to be able to, in some shape or form, be playing a build that is able to react. And, DT drops off of 2 bases. There are not a lot of forks in that build, right? You drop the DTs or you don't drop the DTs, and if you don't drop the DTs, you're behind. So you're kind of stuck on that path, and there's not a lot you can do to really come out of that and respond to, say, a 250 third base 3 racks opener.
Yeah, I'm thinking like if you had the War Prism with the 2 Archons maybe together with this force, I mean, at least you could put up a bit of a fight if you get the Archons to shoot a couple of times into the Marine Ball as it's squished together. Maybe you can turn that around, but yeah, I mean, with the situation that it was very difficult to do much.
Yep, this is true. And again, game number 2, it's going to be a bit of a smaller map. I'm not getting it wrong this time. When I say it's a smaller map, it is actually a smaller map.
It will be, I promise you.
So you should be proud to hear.
He's right. I am so proud.
I did it. It only took me like 6 series. I got it right, finally. But yes, Oxide's going to be a smaller map. Considering PureLegacy's penchant for aggression, he did this to Disc as well. I think we're going to see something similar. We might even see the 3 barracks without a 3rd command center build. That is also that he enjoys. It's a little bit more powerful, hits a little bit harder, but also, you don't have 3 mules. So, yeah, to win and lose, right? You got to do more damage, but you also have the potential to do some more damage if it doesn't work. But who knows? We might just see a standard game. Very much, it's all down to the game planning of our players here as we have game number 2 loaded up. Let's get into it. And spawning in the upper right in the blue. He is up 1 game in this series, representing himself and himself alone. He is PureLegacy.
His opponents, the red-colored Protoss, fighting from the bottom left side of the map. He is from Team Archangel Gaming. It is PattyMac. Love the graphics we have here with the little nameplates. Oh, it looks so fancy.
I worked hard on that last night. I'm very proud of pulling that one together. So thank you, Kozan.
Wonderful, very well done, Beowulf. You well done.
I appreciate it.
Makes it ever so much more special.
No, special.
It does add a lot, right? It like the little tiny details like that. It does make it feel more impactful. It does make it feel like there's just more going on overall.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Although Kozan, I gotta say, special plays in Latin America. He doesn't play in North America. So maybe it's not special. Maybe it's just a pure legacy asset.
Maybe spectacular instead of special.
Oh man, it's so bad whenever I'm casting like ESL Open Cups North America, and Nice for Alpha X likes to play in those. And you know, sometimes you say a player does something and like, wow, really nice job. I'm like, nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice. It's so hard.
Very nicely done by Nice there.
Oh, you're like, oh no.
You know,
this
those
sounds...
ones. It's like, yeah. There you go. It's like in your head, you're already like, oh no. Why did I say that?
Yeah, and he's like, what? Do we have any
I
other?
thought it was better than this.
No, you're not. I'm not, certainly.
It just happens.
Yeah, it really does. Do we have any other names in the scene? Like, I can't think of anything else that's as bad as just saying nice.
Time is horrible.
Yeah, Time is a horrible one. Well, it's a good name. It's a horrible one to try to cast and not just make dumb jokes about clocks.
Exactly. Every time Time plays, I tell you, it's just like that. You see, it just happens. You can't help yourself. Save me. All right. We have both of these players going for the bases.
Yeah, this is true.
That's nice every time.
It is nice every time. It's actually rather nice out where I am as well. So it's especially nice here.
Spectacular.
But anyways, we do have a rather more normal build from both players here. We have a Twilight Council on the way. I don't think we're going to see DTs again, as keep your eye on the gas, but I don't think that's going to be the case here. So there we go. Robo's on the way. Pure Legacy, he's going for 1-on-1, Reaper expand, all that jazz. Look, the Adept's going to actually find its way on in before there's really a lot here to deal with this. So actually, wait, this was a Marine into Reactor. We have nothing that deals with this, but no, the Reaper will be able to actually chase this out. I feel like you're going to lose that Adept anyways. You might as well go and trade for the Reaper or trade for an SCV, something like that. Running away is really not the play there. I mean, I understand that maybe there's a chance it gets out and got very close to getting out, but I don't know. I feel like that is a dead Adept anyways, and you just trade for value. Anyways, look at this here. It looks like we're going to have some Hellion drops coming on out from Pure Legacy.
Yeah, I always talk about feeling like the Hellions just seem a bit better to me than rather than the Widowmine drops. I get that they both have their strengths and weaknesses, but overall the Hellions, you just drop them in a corner somewhere where they're hidden, and then they just drive in. If you try to run your probes away, I mean, those Hellions just chase them, right? Or just walk them in like this. I mean, that is perfectly fine too. Let's see how much he can get. Stalkers giving a bit of a run for their money.
Ooh, he does get 4.
Yeah, that's still 4.
And it's the thing is, also it's a heavily damaged probe line, right? So we will still see those 4 Hellions dropping on into the medevacs as well. And you know what? When you only have 2 Hellions and a Reaper, yes, getting 4 is fantastic. But here's the thing: a lot of them are damaged, and there are going to be enough Hellions here in this drop to make it so that well, it requires 3 Hellions to 1-tap probes. You have 1 extra. We're gonna see a lot of damage get done here by Pure Legacy, most likely. But look at this.
What does he have at home? I mean, he's got in total 4 Hellions and a medevac. That's all he has. If these Stalkers just come in here, okay, he's about to have 2 Marines and a siege tank that's coming up.
So this is just going to be a game of who can hit each other harder, because yes, Pure Legacy is going to do a lot of damage here with this drop. Absolutely, PattyMac just going to have to run away. There's nothing he can do to defend, but also Stalkers here in the natural. There are 2 bunkers, but
3 bunkers.
There's no repair. So this game's getting a little bit funky. I'm surprised we don't see the Hellions deal going onto the Logar and actually fighting the workers instead of the Stalkers. So 13 probes have died, but is the natural going to die here?
There should be a repair, right, with those SCVs.
SCVs? Get a
Come
repair.
on, boys.
SCVs,
Get to work. Yeah, they got it. They got it. Don't worry about it. That's fine.
It's burning, Kozan. It's not repaired.
He's killing more. Well, he was killing more probes. I mean, he got 25 probes in total there. That is massive. That's massive damage. He just needs to stay alive right now. And that siege tank is putting in, actually 2 siege tanks, putting in a lot of hurt on those Stalkers. I think Pure Legacy's got this.
Yep, the tanks, they did not die. In fact, the Stalkers died instead. The Natural is going to get retaken here. This is PureLegacy doubling the worker count of his opponent. And yes, actually, honestly, he could have been more. The Hellions, they targeted Stalkers for a second. But even with that, I mean, it's a plus 20 worker lead here. PureLegacy's got a bigger army anyways. Yeah, he doesn't have stim, so he's not going to be able to move out for a while. The Warp Prism goes down to, I think it had a couple Stalkers in there. Oh, okay, actually, it managed to empty itself out in time. But these Stalkers, they're not going to get a lot done. I mean, what can they do? There's no Warp Prism. They can't see into the main base here. There are 2 tanks. We have Concussive Shells on the way. We have Marauders on the way. We will eventually have Stim. The army of PureLegacy is just too big. PattyMac, how does he find his way back into this game?
I'm not entirely certain myself. He's getting another Nexus, and he's getting Charge. Maybe a Charge slot-based army. It can overwhelm your opponent sometimes, right? If you manage to catch them at the right time or the right angle, especially if your opponent's going for siege tanks and such, right? Then you can try to make something work with that, whether they're being unsieged, so you get some good splash damage on your opponent as well. But it's gonna be a rough one. Regardless, I mean, looking at what happens overall, the units lost tab, that is 29 probes that come down, and there's only 2 SCVs that died. Surprisingly enough, during all of that, when the orbital command center almost burned down, there were only 2 SCVs killed. So that's some good crisis management here from PureLegacy. And
yeah, I think it was also a bit of a missed target there from PattyMac. He's like, look, if I kill the base, right, it's going to be a 1-base opponent. It doesn't matter how many SCVs there are, but he did not really have enough Stalkers, especially when those tanks sieged up on the high ground. And imagine if he'd just been targeting down SCVs as the SCVs fled to the high ground. Maybe this game would be a little bit closer. But look, I really like this from PureLegacy. He's realized that, look, I got so much damage done. I don't need to get a 3rd base. It doesn't really matter here. I'm just going to add 2 additional barracks. I'm going up to 5. It's going to be a 2-base all-in with +1 stim combat shields, concussive shells, all of that. And you're just not going to have enough to deal with me. There is no way that you're going to have enough to deal with me after the damage I did to you, especially as you're taking a 3rd base, although I don't think he has seen that just yet. But I mean, PattyMac, he doesn't have, I mean, his army is not all that small, and it's a lot of charge lots, which he actually deals with his army of PureLegacy rather well indeed. So Stalkers are going to blink on forward here. 1 medevac's going to get targeted on down, 2nd as well, and we're going to see the tanks die as well. Actually, what a move here from PattyMac as he tries to find his way back into this game.
Oh, 2 more siege tank though in the back will be the anchor for the Terran army here. Their safe haven to run back into, and they do put an end to that Protoss army. It was a surprise, right? A couple of the siege tanks that were there that were not sieged, and you can see how much those zealots can do in those situations when there's kind of that lack of that splash damage before they really come in. Marines do well against them, but if you only have the Marine zealots, they do deal quite a bit of damage against them. This is looking very rough for PattyMac. Only 36 army supply. He just doesn't have it anymore. The Terran ball will just be able to micro backwards, and even without the siege tanks and the Widow mines there, most likely